Live. Hi, and welcome to Gay Out the City. I'm your host, Prince Electro Diamond, and today I am here with fitness model and world traveler,
Majestic Singh. You can call me Michael
Majestic
Singh.
Singh. Thank you. How you doing today, sexy?
I am doing pretty well. Just got done working. I think sometimes work is therapy as well. It keeps you busy in your mind so you don't go crazy. So I'm okay now. I'm gonna go to the gym afterwards and be set.
Yeah,
How about you?
I am good. Today was. I will say this. Usually on the weekends I take the weekend off, but I'm like, I had an idea of something, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do a Twitch stream like live performance before this. So I did that like 4 hours ago. So literally, like, I got out of drag just to get back in the shower, get into drag again, and
Okay.
like
But still your
sometimes you
passion,
got
so
to
it's
do
good.
this. Yeah, yeah, I do. It was. I will say this because as I was telling you before, I was a singer songwriter, and it's like you saw that I was a singer songwriter. And it's like I did like 3 songs, 2 of which I hadn't done before, and it's like I
How'd it go?
it. Here's the thing: the live stream didn't go that well because like I didn't promote it because I kind of was just one of those things where like I'm just gonna do this, but the video's doing all right. It's as I said, usually I can tell when something's gonna be like towards the end of today, like.
Yeah. Have you
But
ever thought about TikTok live stream? Because that one is very successful.
ooh. Well, actually,
I'm telling you,
I do it on my
TikTok
phone,
live
so I probably
stream.
could.
I would say TikTok live stream. I feel like people are doing like I won't say this. Some people, if they want to do bare minimum, they will TikTok live stream, and I see them challenge other people and interact with other people. Tell them like they pose a question, and you get a stream of following of people who you find want to discuss things with you, maybe feel the way you feel about something, very passionately, or just people who are like, oh, I really like their vibe, and I like what you're talking about, and I want to listen. I mean, and then you get people who I guess people claim that I am, which is like a thirst trap. It's like here I am, shirtless, working out. See me work. I've never done that, but I see people do it all the time. So I
Yeah,
would say if you want to do a live stream and you didn't promote it, go on TikTok because
yeah.
TikTok will look at things that you've liked and kind of promote you naturally and show you, and people will tune in like, who is this? What is this?
I didn't think about that. I actually did not know that. So
Yeah.
it's like that's something I will consider because, like, granted, TikTok, in terms of my socials, TikTok's the one where I have the least amount of followers, but it's
But see, it
probably
doesn't. I would say that one also like all it takes is one viral video to really kind of like put you out there, you know?
yeah,
And you it does require effort. I've had a few viral videos too. Um, but I would say all it takes is one video and it's got to be like, what are you about? And once people know that what you're about, you can start using like really popular sounds, like you know, different trends. You want to see what the trends are. If there's a popular sound or trend out, if you can follow it, people tune in and then you go viral. And then that's when you really have a chance to really let people know more about who you are.
yeah,
So I would say it's a great tool. I wish I could do it more. I think during the pandemic, I definitely did it more because I had the time living in London. Um, it was a simple one. I didn't even have to talk. I think it was like what people think I am versus what like I was pointing to these things, what people thought I was, and what I really am. I was like,
yeah,
and went viral. So really, just that allows you to be creative, not as much effort and promotion because if it's something that people have never seen before, if it's something that it's like, okay, there's a niche for this, it'll be pushed out through the algorithm.
yeah,
So I was saying, it's a niche to get into if you haven't, because I would say it will help you really get a fan base. Now, I will say there's some people who are really amazing on TikTok, they don't have anything on Instagram. you know. But I will say, if you want to, you could put a link to your YouTube. But I'm not saying it's going to connect them all, but I will say it will help you get a following of people who tune into your live streams. Because maybe you want to do your live streams on TikTok, but you film them and then you can put them on YouTube.
Yeah, that is something because like the thing is, I try and like the thing that I'm working the most towards now is this, but like obviously I try and like balance everything because it's like between music and doing this, but it's like this I try and stick to like 2 days a week. I try and stick to like Monday, Thursday, so that way like it's a little bit
Work-life
easier.
balance.
Yeah. And it's like so that way I can get like I have to say God bless the Go-Go Boy community because they will they're usually who I interview. Like granted, some people will be like, you're interviewing another Go-Go Boy? It's like, well listen, I interview who I can. Like
Yeah, and who it's also about who is willing to give their time. I
yeah,
think anything that's related to LGBTQ expressing yourself is a great thing. You reached out to me. I don't see any reason
yeah,
why I wouldn't interview with you. I looked at your page. I didn't
yeah.
see like you're promoting anything, I don't know, radical or weird. I think it was just about being
No.
gay out and about. Okay, why not?
Yeah, because I mean, at the end of the day, it's like that's why some people like try and put like political stuff. I had my moment of that. It's before this started taking up so much of my time. I used to do this music and a political show, and then I'm like, once this started taking up so much of my time, I dropped the political show. I'm like, thank God, because like it's
Yeah, you gotta be. I mean, I think people will make lots of things political too, and I feel like during 2020 there was something I was very passionate about, and I think people said it was political. I was like, that's not political. It's called human rights, but whatever. So.
that's how people
Human rights,
are.
yeah, human rights is not a political thing. It's I think you should just be born with the rights to be treated fairly.
Yeah,
So, but yeah.
I don't know. People are stupid. Anyway, so where are you originally from?
So I grew up in Austin, Texas, but I moved away after college to London, and I was a teacher. So I was a high school biology teacher. I taught chemistry and physics and biology in London. I taught for several years, and I came back mainly because of the pandemic. Living in London, and I mean in Europe in general, we would go into these lockdowns, and London was in a lockdown, and it'd be lockdown, and we'd open up, and then we'd lock down, and we'd open up, and it was very like, if you're gonna go to America, you can go, but we don't know if you're gonna be able to come back. And I couldn't come back to America until like I would say towards the end of 2021 almost, and I had to think to myself like, I love living in London. I love the like opportunities to travel. I liked being a teacher there. I liked what I was being paid to be a teacher there. But I think um, I was worried about my mom, and I was like, okay, if I need to get to her, if things don't get better, um, I don't want to like not be able to get to her because I had heard it happen to so many people. When I could finally come back after I had taken a COVID test before I went, I had to be vaccinated. I got the AstraZeneca, the one that everyone was making fun of on the internet.
Yeah,
There's like Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca. Like, that's the one I got. Um, and I could only see her for a week, and then I had to go back, and I had to take another COVID test before I left America, and then one when I got there on day 2, and then one on day 8, and then I had to quarantine for a week. Like that was so complicated. I was like, are we gonna be like this forever? So I made the tough choice and I was like, let me move back to America. I don't really like drinking alcohol, and I just because I don't like the empty calories, but on the way back, which by the way, that first way back, there was like 5 people on that plane, all masked up. I was on United.
yeah,
And then when I finally moved back, got another teaching job in America. I mean, I was crying. I was in my mind, I had to say goodbye to my mates, my friends. I liked my life in London. I liked the opportunities I was getting in London because I was, I was gonna like go model in like Malaga in Spain. I'd go model in like Brussels, the south of France, work with different photographers. This is a brand called Molly and Tommy based in Spain. They photographed me like when I got that money just after like 40 minutes of modeling that like the pounds. I was like, yes, like this is just, you know,
Yeah.
opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. It was like boom, here we go. And I'm glad I had all those things happen. But it was also kind of like a nice send off for me because I was like, you know what? At the end of the day, my mom matters a lot to me, and I don't need to be with her if things get worse. And when I moved back again, um, I drank like I was like, can I please get some coffee with Bailey's in it? I just want something sweet. And I was still crying a little bit. I used my points to get first class. I was like, I might as well enjoy first class because I had packed my bag. My life was in London, so I had to like send bags over, and then I tried to like take bags with me, and then some of the bags were obviously overweight. But if you're first class, you can go above.
Yeah.
I think you can go up to 50. So I was just like, just please, I'm gonna upgrade to first class, please, thank you, and cried my eyes out back to America because I was like, maybe I'm gonna say goodbye to that life. But I moved back and tried teaching again for a year, and I was like, wow, what is this pay? Like, but also, what is this working for free? And also, what's all like the disorganization? The disorganization, the pay, the hours, what they're expecting from you. I'm like, look, COVID, we just got out of it. You want us to do this and you want to do this, but like the math isn't mathing because how do you expect to do this with this? And I left during they call it like the teacher not teacher migration, but teacher resignation. Like I think 75% of teachers left in 2022. And I became part of it because I was just like, I can't do this. Um, I can't. I'm gonna miss the impact I made on those kids. I think
Yeah.
hopefully they look back and be like, Mr. Oh, I was fantastic. When they think of me, they think of me as someone who they laughed with, they found inspiring, they learned, felt comfortable, felt safe,
Right.
and become really amazing, good people in the world who are educated and can think with their heart and their brain about the world around them and really know what facts are versus opinions and science. So I will miss that. But now I told her, I was like, Mom, I'm gonna be a flight attendant. I can't do this anymore. Because I think it was messing with my mental well-being because I think I was just kind of like feeling like I gave up this incredible life. Now I'm back here in Texas. I kind of hate this. I don't. Um,
Well,
I applied, and then boom, here we go. I was like, here we are, and then here I am. My life has changed, and the opportunities are still there. I still model for it's a brand called Yours New York, New York, which is a
yeah.
gay-owned luxury underwear brand in New York City, and
Yeah.
it's just amazing. Someone saw me as a model. I don't even think they follow me, and I don't know them, but they said, yeah, this person referred you, so you never know who's watching you, you know.
Right.
And then I just did this thing with Triniful. It's a really popular like gay fashion. They have like gay circuit outfits, clothes, you name it, fans, everything. And they reached out to me and gave me a few items to go ahead and model and promote. So really, when you think one door is closing, the opportunities behind the other one, they're many. It's just scary. And I think we have to remember like it's okay to be scared, but like just go for it. So
Well, right. Well, we'll say this. I can understand, first of all, being a teacher in Texas, well, I shouldn't say that because as I told you, I'm in Florida, which I officially now say is the dumbest state in the United States. I'm just gonna put
I
there.
can't say anything that I agree or disagree, but I will say people have their opinions, and I do find some of the policies interesting.
As I always tell people, especially now with this podcast, the minute I can get the fuck out of Florida, I'm leaving. Like,
But Miami's amazing. The beach, Tampa's beautiful. It is beautiful weather. But I get it. Like it's like
I've lived here my whole life.
I
That's
don't.
the thing.
Oh, see, that's why. See, that's
Yeah,
why. Yeah, okay,
yeah,
I get it. No need to
yeah,
explain further. I get it.
yeah. As I will say, I'm not somebody, I'm gonna stay on the East Coast. I think I've made that decision because like the only West Coast city I would even consider like moving to would be Seattle, but Seattle's like crazy expensive.
You could try Charlotte. No, I was kidding. No offense to Charlotte.
No, if I decided to move, if I'm staying in the South, I'm moving to Atlanta. Like,
Okay, I got it.
because it's like it's a big enough city, but it's cheap. So like, and it's like it's still the South, but it's like the melting pot of the South. So like,
Okay, yeah, okay.
yeah,
I heard good things about Atlanta.
and it's so pretty, and they actually have seasons in Atlanta. That's not
Okay, understood. You want seasons. So like, 'cause I just worked a flight and we stayed in Miami and I was like, I had no idea it was winter time because it doesn't feel like winter time here. I
nope,
was like,
no.
it is. It felt humid. I felt like I was. My earpiece dropped. Be right back.
Oh,
There. Can you hear me?
yeah, yeah. There you go.
Okay,
You're
cool.
good.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like everyone's advertising all this winter stuff. I'm like, it's 85 degrees outside here. I can't think about this like
Yeah, it's
winter.
true.
I'm like,
The humidity is pretty strong. I felt like, I was like, man, what is this? This is completely different than New York City. So,
I know New York. I'd love to. I can't afford it. I'd love to live in New York City, but like,
well, you can't afford it yet. We're going to say that
yes,
the right opportunities will come into your life that will allow you to be in the spaces that you want to be if you really want
yeah,
them.
exactly. So, what was it like for you growing up as a kid?
So, grew up with a single mom. My mom is Thai. If it's anybody who watches ever Thai people, Sawadi Kap, okay? Um, it was challenging, I think, because a single mom doing her best and sometimes feeling like she couldn't give you as much as she wanted to. I think like uh, my mom, she didn't get to go to school as a kid. So I think for me, she was like, Michael, you've got to go to school. Like you really, school education is the best way for you to change your life. Um, so she was really adamant about me staying on top of my school. She was doing everything on her own, making Asian desserts in the Asian market, like the Chinatown, to take care of me. Um, but I could see sometimes the stress, it would put on her, to really provide for me by herself
Right.
and try to make sure like she was taking me to reading camp so I get good at reading.
Yeah.
Um, so I would say, but I was a happy kid, I feel like my mom, she did her best to make me happy. I think I wouldn't say she overcompensated, but she did her best to make me happy with like whatever was food, what I wanted. Like she knew I love Barbie. Like there was one time at McDonald's. My sister was with me, and I asked, like, I was like, can I have a Happy Meal with a doll, please? And like, it came out, and it was a toy car. I was like, um, and I looked so sad. My sister told me that I got a toy car. My mom like took the car, and she's like, excuse me, he wants a doll, please. And she's like, excuse me, ma'am. And she's like, you heard me, girl. He wants a doll. Give him the doll. And she got my Barbie for me. So my mom is amazing. But I would say like I had to grow up a little bit faster. She developed diabetes when I was like in middle school, and I don't think people understand like how serious diabetes was back then and how it is now. It really can lead to a lot of, it can really damage the body in lots of ways if it's left unchecked and you don't treat it
Right.
carefully. And that was scary sometimes. And if someone is supposed to get like hypoglycemia, their blood sugar can drop so low it can put them into a coma. And there was one time I went to the hospital and she was in really bad shape, and I don't think we knew it was diabetes. So it really shaped my understanding of like health and wellness as well,
Right.
about understanding DNA and genes, and a lot, it actually, what some people don't know, epigenetics. Um, it's basically you are who you are because of your parents and what they exposed you to. If they were stressed and you were in their stomach, if they exposed you to so many different that stress, it develops your neural pathways in your brain. You know, um, so it inspired me to be a better person and son to make sure I looked after her because she's done everything she could to take care of me.
Yeah.
So So I would say I was a happy kid, but it was also I got reality check about life really quickly.
See, I would say like whenever you have like a sick parent, you have to like grow up faster. I know that because my mom was diagnosed with cancer when I was 15. So like
Mm.
it's like all of a sudden, like granted, I had both of my parents, but it's like eventually when she got worse, which is when I was when I was like 17, 18, I was the one who was expected to like stay home and take care of her. So like
Yeah, I relate to that.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
my siblings, they were all older than me, but like you gotta take care of mom. You gotta take care of mom. You gotta help take care of mom. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm only 14. What are you talking about? I'm only 16. Like, how am I supposed to do it? Because I was going with her to her doctor's appointments,
Right.
and I would be like looking at the medicine. I'd be helping out with like understanding like the Medicare and Medicaid process. So my mom can't read English, you know.
Oh
Um,
yeah. Wow.
and then my siblings, I think they were all in their own kind of, I don't know, busy with their own lives, but I was like stressed. Um, yeah. It's stressful on a kid because, you're kind of doing it by yourself. But
Yeah.
she's okay. And your mother, is she?
It's coming with my next question. So what was it like for you coming out?
Oh yeah. So, gosh, coming out. You know what? I told my brother, and my brother like threw me out the closet. I told him, I think I was like 16, and then he told my mom in confidence. He was like, Mom, like Michael's gay, but you need to like love him, and he's still your son. He's still my brother. He still loves me, my brother. And he's like, maybe he doesn't know, but maybe he really is. We don't know, but whatever it is, we have to love him, is what my brother said.
Right.
But he didn't let me tell my mom. And one day, I think my mom, she knew. And I think I don't know what I had done, but she was just like, I know you're gay. And she was washing dishes. And she was just like, you think I don't know? But I do. And I think it's because I was like maybe 17 at that time. And like, I think I met a guy, I was working in the movie theater. And this really handsome guy had given me his number. But I think he was obviously older. Um, and she's just like, he had called the house and she's just like, I think that was the last straw. And she was just like, you have people calling this house who don't need to call here. And she's just like, if your sister could be like that because she doesn't live under this roof, but you live under this roof and you follow my rules. And she was crying. She's like, I tried so hard by myself. And I felt like the walls were spinning around, around me. So I later learned from her that I would talk to her again. She's like, Mom, I was like, Mom, what do you see when you see me? And she's like, I see someone who's lost and confused. And I was like, well, Mom, I'm not lost or confused, but I am trying to find my way, and I hope you'll be with me. So it was tough in the beginning, and then in college, I had a boyfriend. She wasn't really happy about that. But there was somewhere in college, still in the beginning, I think she picked me up and we were driving, and she's just, she's like the government, so stupid. I was like, about what, Mom? And she was just like, the gay. She's like, if gay want to get married, they should get married. Love is love.
Mhm.
Something you cannot stop. People were born this way. I was like, really? She's like, yeah, people born blue eyes, brown skin, curly hair. People are born gay. I was like, okay, Mom. And I it was a gradual process. I think my sister took a lot of the heat because I think my mom had seen my sister being lesbian. My mom was accepting of that, but she also understood that like what love is. You can't define love by
Yeah.
gender, you know happiness. If you were in love and you were happy, you're in love and happy.
Right. So I will
So
say
it was a
too. Yeah. So I will say too, my coming out, since you did ask about my mom. So I came out 4 months after my mom died. So, as somebody said, like lots of like life changes at once. Like,
It was because
so,
do you wish you had been able to tell her? But then I
I,
would say I
I,
think some
I
people feel like moms know.
I feel like she knew because this is the thing. Like, yes, theoretically, I was brought up in like a conservative household, but like my mom was also the one who introduced me to Madonna. So I mean, like that goes back to your theory of she probably knew. Like, why
Oh,
would she be?
she knew. She knew.
Yeah.
Did you guys sing together Madonna songs?
Well, I she wouldn't introduce me to like what I call the fun Madonna. She wouldn't introduce me to erotica. I started like at Ray of Light and then like I learned about like
Ray, Ray of Light's still good.
yeah. And then I learned about like newer Madonna and then I learned about like a Virgin and all of that, but it's like the whole like except for like Vogue, the latter half of the 90s was skipped and I'm like eventually when I started doing research on my own, I'm like, "Oh, this is why my mom didn't show this to me."
Well, yeah, I mean, she didn't feel like it was appropriate at the time, but she was
But
still
yeah.
showing you like. But I would say like, okay,
Yeah. Yeah, but like I will say, my dad and my dad and then I have an older sister who is we're both accepting. So that's the good part. I had
it
a bad
is.
part. I had a bad part. We're about to get into it.
Okay.
So I came out to youth minister at the church, which was a mistake.
First,
No, he was not the first person I came out to. I'd come out to other people, and then I came out to him. And then I
because you
told
felt
him
like you
about
could
this.
trust him.
Yeah. Then I told him about like this performance idea I had with like a knife and how I'd practice stabbing myself because I'm dramatic, obviously. And he left the room.
He,
He came back in about 10 minutes later. He said, "You have one of two options. Either you're coming with me or I'm calling the cops." And knowing what he had done to me, what he did to me, I would have let him call the cops now. So he took me to get a psych eval. I passed it. He lied to the people administering the test to make it seem like I was lying to them when I was giving them the answers.
uh-huh.
And as a result, I got locked in a mental institution for 64 hours. Yeah.
And then your parents had to find a way, like your dad had to find a way to get you out.
Well, yeah. It's not that. It's like, so, okay. So I was brought in on a weekend. That's the only reason I believe that I had to stay so long.
Okay, okay.
Because the like weekend psychiatrist tried to make me feel guilty about like being a performer. He was like, playing with knives is dangerous. I'm like, I know that. Like, not an
I'm just
idiot.
dramatic. I'm just dramatic.
Dramatic. Yeah. And then like on Monday when I met like the like regular psychiatrist, he's like, he even told my dad, he's like, "This is a well-adjusted young man. I don't know why somebody brought him here."
Yeah, well adjusted and dealing with grief, but also still finding ways to express himself in a healthy way.
Yeah.
You were pretending. It wasn't like you were cutting with
No,
just a dramatic
I was
effect.
like,
Like people like throw knives at their partner spinning on a wheel. Like yeah.
yes, it's dramatic. It's
People eating
like,
flames. Yeah.
yeah,
I understand.
yeah. It's like, this is the thing. And I didn't put it to him like this, but I should have. I should have been like, I'm a fucking musician. What do you expect me to have? Like, yeah, of course I have like eccentric, crazy ideas. That's what makes me a musician. Like, duh.
Hmm.
And then anyway, after he got caught, he had a meeting with me and a priest who put me with a therapist. That's how it was told to me. She was not a therapist. She was a counselor that worked with the church. And she tried to pray the gay away.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay, that's I think that's traumatic.
Hmm.
And that on their side, dramatic.
Yeah. But it's like I look at everything like, yes, it was traumatic, but all the things I will say, all the tragedies that happened in my life, I'd say that I've been raped, I've been sexually assaulted, like two different instances. It's like all the shit that happened to me, I put it into my art and it makes me stronger because I then get to be a mouthpiece and say
Yeah,
like,
to speak your truth.
mhm,
And I think that's really healthy because I feel like we live in a world where a lot of people will um, hide behind alcohol. They will hide
mhm,
behind drugs,
yeah,
um, or they just won't ever say anything. And I feel like they let trauma sort of kill them slowly because they never
right,
like speak about it. And I think there's the shame about speaking about it. Oh, I don't want to talk to a therapist. Oh, I'm fine. Oh, it's okay. I'm just gonna throw back the bottle. Um, and it really makes me sad because I wish more people would find ways to express themselves that will allow them to um, face that trauma. Because I think I was doing research recently. I think it's called EDMR, where basically you have to relive the trauma, like you unpack it like a file and you recall it, and then you follow like these fingers, and it's almost like you're rubbing it away,
yeah,
and but you're rubbing it away. So by you expressing your art and your creativity, you're reliving it, but you're rubbing it away by making it become something else. So it's no longer this sort of sadness or pain, but this source of, like losing your mother. Mom, I love you, and I know you love me too, wherever you are, and you
yeah,
know I'm gay. The
right,
person who harmed me, whoever you are, you know, I forgive you, but you don't have power over me, and you have your own demons to deal with. And in hurting me, you did hurt me, but I'm not going to let that own me.
right, and
And I
that's
think that's powerful stuff, but people can't get to that stage because they get stuck, and I would say mental health, like and anxiety, depression, low self-esteem, or hiding behind addiction. um, it can really affect their neural pathways. There's science behind it. It's not just like people are like, oh, it's just feelings. It's not just feelings, people. There's science behind this. This affects your neural pathways. And the neural pathways will affect your relationship with people and how you interact with them and how you will
right,
live your life into the future, whether like, you're going to live a long, healthy, happy life, or is it going to be a life that's full of struggle because you can't get past, I guess, quote unquote, your own demons.
right,
And I would say by you expressing yourself in your music, in your art, this
absolutely,
podcast,
yes,
you develop neural pathways in your brain that allow you to be more resilient, but also make new memories and allows you to foster forgiveness and love for yourself. And that's a really powerful tool that I think many people could use in their life. I'm in a similar situation right now, helping someone I really love and care about.
yeah,
Um, you know, I don't want to say deal, but heal from the trauma. And they often like to like avoid any kind of conflict. They don't like to bring up their traumas, their past. And like I feel like even when I have tried to bring it up in counseling, for helping them, um, they got so upset with me, got so furious that I had shared something that they thought was um theirs to share. But I was like, it's affecting our relationship.
mm, right,
So I really commend you on being powerful enough within yourself to find a voice because some people will never find their voice if they don't find a way to heal.
and yeah, as you said, you have to like literally today. as I said, with that live performance, I had written a song. I performed it for the first time today. It's called Rape. And it's talking about that, because my thing is, what you said to that point is like, after I wrote the song, after I performed it, I'm like, you've held on to this for 8 years. Like, you've held on to this for 8 years. How much longer are you going to let this like rule over your life? And I'm like, granted, yes, it was hard, and I will admit I cried a lot yesterday before I decided I was like, or when I wasn't like sleeping, I was like tearing up, and like I realized I'm like, no, you have to do this. You have to do this now, because it's like,
It's gonna let you express yourself and let it go, because writing it
exactly.
out and reading it out loud lets it out of your thoughts. And I would
Yes.
say, I think people don't, it's a very simple thing. If you just write down how you're feeling and you say it out loud, or find a safe space to speak it to, a
Right.
soundboard, that could be a friend, doesn't have to be a therapist. For people who watch it, like, I don't have money for a therapist,
Yeah.
or I don't want people to think I'm crazy. Then I want you to tell someone you really trust what's on your mind, um, who you feel safe around,
Mm-hmm.
and notice the effect it has on you. Because my mom always said, you can't keep things inside to yourself all the time. It will destroy you. You've got to speak it out sometimes. You've got to find a way to speak it out, to let it go, to let it not own you. But
Right.
I would say that I know that not everyone's the same like that. My mom, she's a very unique Thai Asian woman. Asian people, a lot of the time, like, are very stone cold, very like no emotions. But my mom, with me, I think with me, she was maybe, my siblings say she was softer with me, but I think it's also I brought out her vulnerability, and I feel like I helped her express herself.
Right.
Um, and she would talk to me. So I feel like we live sometimes in some cultures where they just don't want to talk about anything. Everything's fine. It's just fine. There's no problem here, but really there's like problems. Like, it's like a sinking ship, and like, you want me to stand on the sinking ship with you. Let's get out of the ship together. But some people
Right.
won't, and I think, this person I really care about, I was like, I can't do this by myself, and they finally agreed to go to counseling. And I think it's gonna be, and this is one thing I would say too about facing trauma and things, like, for the person going through the trauma and the journey to heal, it's going to be really difficult, very
Mm-hmm.
challenging. It's going to be a
Yes.
long one. And I would say for the person who loves them and is with them, it's going to be hard and difficult as well. So just know it's difficult on both sides.
Right.
And it's going to be difficult on both sides to the people around you who love you, your parents, your friends. Um, and the road to healing and letting trauma not own you takes patience, and it takes work.
Right. But
And
it's
it's
it
it's hard. It's difficult.
no, it's hard. It's also what I think people don't understand about trauma is like, especially, I'm going to talk about more like rape, sexual assault, because it's something I can speak on, obviously. But it's like, if you don't like put that out and you don't get past that, you're never going to be able to be in a successful relationship, because you're always holding on to something.
Yes, that is true. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
And the research shows that, but it also, I see that from, you know, my own experiences in the past. So we'll see. Like, I'm always manifest the best. So
Yeah.
I haven't given up. I'm not giving up hope. Um, but I will say, I think for myself, I'm gonna need to foster some patience.
No. And it's like hope and like all that being vulnerable. It's as you talked about with this podcast, that's the one thing where it's like, I will say, I love art. Like, I love making music. Like, making music is always my first love. There's sometimes with certain things why I started this podcast, because, like, I felt like at some point I had to dumb down some of my art, because it's like, sometimes you do stuff that's shocking, or you say something that's shocking, and, like, you just do it because it's like, that's how your thoughts think. And it's like, okay, so I'm thinking about this as an artist, and other artists who are like intellectual, they're like artistically intellectual, are getting what I'm saying, but the average person is not getting what I'm saying
Yeah, so
because
it's like
they
reading
don't think
between the
right now.
lines.
Yeah.
An artist can read behind the lines and say like, okay, you're not trying to be scary. You're really talking about this message.
No, yes, exactly. And it's like, you have to dumb things down. That sounds
I would
bad.
say, I know, I
You,
usually
you,
you
you
have
get what
to.
I'm saying.
It's all about the presentation. You've got to present it in a way that makes it um a little more broad, so that more people can tune in instead of tuning out.
Simplify. There's a word. Simplify. That's what I
You
meant
got
to
to
say.
you got to simplify it. Yeah.
Because
Sorry,
I feel like
I'm living in London. There's a way of presenting things in a very nice way. So you just got to work on the presentation, the delivery, which is going to be
yeah,
simplifying it.
right. I said simplify because I realized like dumbing down makes it sound like people are idiots, but
No, people just don't know. You
yeah,
gotta phrase it different ways. People's different education levels, what they're used to, what they've experienced. I get it. I
yeah,
understand.
work. So, what was it like for you moving to New York City?
What was that? So I did this flight attendant training. After it was over, it was like we had like 5 days to kind of like get ourselves collected and like boom, go. And had to quickly find a place to stay, found a place. I got a couple of flatmates, also all flight attendants, and I mean, it was exciting. I mean, I would say like I'd already moved when I moved to London, that was more stressful. I was like, if I can move to London, another country, and make it work, I'm gonna be able to make it work in New York City. Because New York City, I would say, is the closest thing to being like a sister of London. Very similar in so
Right.
many ways. So I would say it was just kind of like, here I am. I'm in the American version of London, and I'm so used to riding the train in London, the tube. This I'm so used to that kind of lifestyle. So it was kind of like copy paste.
Yeah.
Um, and I would say it's been great to experience that life there. And my colleagues are amazing that I get to work with in New York City. I think New York City has so much culture. I mean, Central Park is lovely to during the
Yeah.
holidays, the Christmas tree and little Christmas markets, which they have little Christmas markets in London as well. When they decorate each borough. So I know in New York City they call them boroughs, and in London they call them boroughs too. I didn't know America
Yeah.
had that, but they decorate them, and I think it's been fantastic. I would say the only thing is it wasn't New York that was sometimes lonely. I think sometimes being a flight attendant can be um, sort of lonely, and if you're not well connected with yourself and with people, maybe
Right.
it's your colleagues, but also your friends and family. Let them know where you are. Um, which I gotta call my mom pretty soon to be like, "Hey, mom, I'm here." I tell her where I'm
Yeah.
at, so she doesn't have to worry. Um, but I would say it's been amazing. And this career has really helped me see so many amazing places within the last year, like going to Sao Paulo in Brazil, going to Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic, to Guyana,
Yeah.
to going to Barcelona, to just meeting people and seeing more of America. I think I didn't really have an appreciation for the States. And there are a lot of beautiful states out there that I can say that I've seen that are beautiful and have their own way of doing things, and you can see that the people living there are happy.
Yeah.
Um, and I would say places that are like they mind their business, they're peaceful. They're not, I don't know, aggressive. They might not agree with you, but they're going to still respect you as a person. And I would say most of
Yeah.
America has been like that from what I've seen.
You're talking about the beautiful states. You also, I'm gonna put the downside. You also have seen the garbage states.
I mean, I would say there's some place I'm like, I would probably never ever come here, but this is a cute, peaceful place. Raleigh, Durham, Greenville. Wow, would never be here, but this is a peaceful place. It's cute, you know.
Salt
I've
Lake
seen some
City.
like,
Oh.
you know, oh yeah, no, I mean, like, really, like, I think it was it Cleveland, Ohio? I've never been. It was cute, you know. And people were nice. I mean, Omaha, Nebraska, you know.
Yeah.
Um, you know, Missouri. I mean, yeah. So I would say it's been a unique experience, but I have no regrets.
No, and it's like the things that you point out, it's what I miss about. So I don't live in a city currently. I lived in Orlando for 4 years, so it's like that was kind of like me running. As I say, I'm originally from South Florida, but I'm from small town South Florida, so I'm like
Hmm.
the minute I had a chance to get out of this like small town, I literally ran to Orlando. I'm like I have to be in a city. Like being in a small
I
town
get it.
sucks. Yeah, and
I get it. I get it.
it's like now, as you said, I will say that's the one thing about doing this podcast. It's like not only do I do have I done like interviews with people all over the United States, but I've done interviews with people internationally. So it's like I've
Yeah.
had a
No. So you
chance.
really you feel connected,
Mhm. I've had a
and
chance to
that's
interview somebody in Australia, Spain, England.
yeah.
Like, yeah,
And I feel like that gives like this way of like creativity that can help you thrive.
yeah,
So, and if you feel like you're thriving and you're making these connections, your brain is also making new connections and you build brand new neural pathways, which is good for your well-being overall.
yes,
It can, and also, I mean, I don't think it can contribute. There's something about they say meditation can contribute to like gray matter, but I would say like if in a way if meeting new people and having these positive interactions is positive, I would say in its own way, it's like meditation because it's reflective because you're speaking your truth and you're hearing their truth and you're seeing where we're connected, where we're two different people, but still there's a connection of trauma or sadness, with strength and pride. Um, it can help you, I think, build that sort of like gray matter as well, I would argue. There's probably not enough
yeah,
research on it yet, but you know, the human connection.
yeah. It's like the other thing. Well, granted, as I say, you sit down with enough people doing this, you do develop some friends. Are you friends with everybody? No, because it's like
Oh, of course not. Yeah, I mean, some coworkers I see in this job, you hope that you hang out and meet again, but you might not ever, but they were great people. And that's
no,
nice to have that.
yeah, and it's like the other thing is I try and support as many people as I can, but it's like the more I've gotten into this, it's like I realize I'm like, wow, I got to be selective about who I try and be friends with because it's like this, as you said, this is a medium where you're just going to keep on growing and growing and growing. So there's going to be more and more and more people. So you got to figure out who you actually like, who's genuine.
Who's genuine and who has the
Yeah,
capacity to be there for you and match the capacity that you're giving them.
exactly.
Understood. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. So what made you get into modeling?
So I I was in a relationship. I got dumped. I never did a fitness competition. If I was like, you should try to do a fitness competition, I was like they put a spray tan on you and you go up in like shorts, that kind of. She's like, yeah. And so I like worked hard. I had hired a personal trainer. We were working on it. You know, I'd never been shirtless like that. This is like 2012, you know, and I posed on that stage. I remember I got like second place, you know, and I was like, yeah, I want to like get some modeling photos of this, of me looking like this. And I remember the first modeling photo I took. Um, I was like, wow, I think I look beautiful. I don't think I'd ever felt that way about myself. And I did more fitness competitions. I got better at it, and um, I would, do a little bit more modeling, and then eventually when I moved to Europe, moved to London, that's when the modeling opportunities started popping up. They were like, "Do you want to model this? It'd be good to have you this model." And I'm like, "Wow, really?" This thing called Best Gay Life. They had like gay luxury things as well, underwear, swim trunks, you name
Yeah.
it, and group modeling as well. I had to group model with other men. I was like, "Oh my God, I've never had to do this before. Are they going to be mean? Are they going to be nice?" Some gay, some straight. Like I don't know, people want to have an attitude. Like it just took off, and I got better at understanding my body and what looks good because I was still doing fitness competitions as well, and I had like a posing
Right.
coach. His name is James Alexander. He's an amazing fitness coach. He's British. He works for the WBFF. I think now he lives. I think it might be Australia. I don't know where exactly, but he's just amazing. And I worked with this other posing coach as well online, and she knows her stuff. She does Miami Pro, WFF, and like it's basically power poses. And power poses, they say, are really good in helping your self-esteem, but also if you're having a stressful day. This is not a power pose. Power pose like Superman, that's a power pose. But if it's also
Yeah.
like, so if you feel powerful in it, and it just modeling made me feel powerful in the sense that I think I've got a healthy, strong, beautiful body that I present that I've worked hard on, but I've also able to send a message out there sometimes too, whether it be funny or serious about like mental health, or like loving your body the way it changes because it changes all the time.
Right.
To what gives me peace. So
First of all, I will point out, definitely understand like insecurities about yourself. Definitely have them myself. I am. What was it? I made a story about this not that long ago. I said like sometimes you have to call yourself ugly 1,000 times to finally realize that you're beautiful. Like, and it's like
yeah, you have to remind
it's
yourself.
sad.
And I think
Yeah.
we forget too. It's sad. I think we sometimes put ourselves down. It can be an ongoing thing, and I would say it's something I express that I think I suffer from like body dysmorphia. I haven't been diagnosed. Also,
Mm,
it's a brand new thing, where you really are down on yourself. And the thing is, it's not really healthy to be like that because I will age and I will get older, and I have to look back and be like, yeah, my body was beautiful in that moment in time, and it still is in this moment in time. I've
yeah.
just changed, and nothing is permanent. Uh, Everything changes, and um, I have to learn how to accept these changes with grace.
Right.
Um, and that's the self work, which is something I work on now. Do I have it figured out clearly? Not yet. Will
No.
I get there? I definitely will get there, but I'm gonna have
Yeah.
to be a little bit um patient with myself, you know,
And
and do the work.
part of that body dysmorphia is also like realize. Okay. So you have to realize you have to be realistic in what you want your body to be. Because I had that moment. Okay, so I am 6'3". For the longest time, I thought you should weigh 150 pounds. And I'm
That doesn't,
thinking,
that doesn't make sense on your height. Yeah, no.
exactly. I'm like, how is that healthy at all? Like that would mean I'm anorexic. Like
No, and I
literally.
think it has a lot. It's gay culture, I think, too.
Hmm.
You're like, what is a desirable gay man look like? If that's what a desirable man gay looks like, I need to look like that. He's more desirable than me. Maybe I'm not desirable enough. It's really a bad loophole that I would say a lot of gay men go through. I would say if you look at gay men out there who are like really attractive and fit, um, a lot of them are comparing themselves to other people too. They are. They'll tell you they post a hot picture and yeah, they look hot, but there's still this sort of like perhaps unhappiness when they compare themselves to somebody else, you know? Um, Now, is it all of them? No, I think there's some out there, whoever they are, you know, um, who are like, I'm beautiful and I know it, and I exude confidence. I would say one person who I think does that, his name is Josh Moore. He does OnlyFans, British.
Yeah.
I think he knows he's beautiful, but he's humble. He knows about his line of work. He knows he does OnlyFans. He knows he makes some money, but
Yeah.
he's still, I mean, I think to me he exudes confidence, but I think he is genuinely confident about himself and does not look down on himself. And I don't think he feels like he needs to compare himself to other people. But that's not always the truth of everyone who's in that industry of OnlyFans and modeling. It can be a very like downing place if you start comparing yourself. So I would say when it comes to finding yourself beautiful in the journey there, we can't compare ourselves to other people. Yes, you can acknowledge someone is beautiful, but the
Hmm.
language in your head should not be they are hotter than me. It should be they're beautiful and I'm also beautiful. It's not that they look better than me. They took a really good photo and I take a really good photo too. Um, and it's not a competition. And if it's a competition to them, it's fine. It's not a competition to me, and I'm not going to make it a competition.
Okay, this is where I'm gonna say I'm gonna try and put the positive spin on this. Sometimes thinking you're ugly for a long time forces you to develop a personality. And I say that is more important than thinking that you're always beautiful. Because then chances are you become empty.
I mean, I can see like when I mean beautiful, I mean like I
Yeah.
accept myself for who I am, and I still think who I am is beautiful. And it's
Yeah.
not just the physical features; it's like how my heart is, how I speak to people, how I treat people. And that one photo doesn't say anything about him or her or me. It's just a picture, and that's all it is.
Yeah. And it's edited. Like
And it's lighting, the shadowing, how I posed, you know, just like you flex the bicep, am I flexing the abs, really breathing out? It's all that. So yeah.
yeah.
But I do have to go pretty soon because
Yeah.
I have to call my mom and I do have to go to the gym.
Okay. Yeah. So let's see. I'll skip some. I'll find some time to have you back on because I have a lot more questions. But I'll get to the last question. So, what's the what's the biggest misconception about you?
The biggest misconception about me.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if people think this, but I hope no one ever looking at my life thinks I've got it like I'm perfect. But I could see how people think perfect. And to them, I don't think perfect at all. I think the way people's comments are towards me and the DMs, like, I think all you're seeing is Instagram, and yeah, I take a good photo, and yeah, I model, but I think they have this misconception like he's got it, he's good looking. What kind of problems could he have? And I would say I'm just posting a good picture because I have to model this thing. It's a job.
Right.
I I can't be in tears modeling a swimsuit unless that's what it calls for. I don't know, but like it's a job. I'm just taking a good picture. I had to go in. The assignment was to go in, look seductive and sexy, and make it look like the booty is popping. If that was the assignment, then I had to do the assignment.
Right.
But it doesn't mean I'm just like think I'm all that and got it all figured out. I don't, and it doesn't mean I've got my own like things that I have to deal with in my day-to-day basis. I would say do not look at people with social media as these people that you desire to be because we're all human going through our own things. Some people more expressive than others. I'm just doing what I've always done. Use my platform as my voice, my body is my voice. And some people don't like that, and some people do, and that's not really up to, it has nothing to do with me, it has to do with them.
Right. Okay, so I'll answer this really quickly. So, some people have told me they think I'm shady. I don't agree with that at all. I will say I am a person who's like very blunt and honest
Hmm.
because I believe listen, some people feel like it's always like participation ribbons. Everybody should be like deserving. If somebody does something, you should tell them they're good. No. If especially musicians, like if I think that you suck, I'm not going to tell you that you're good. I'm going to tell you that I think you suck. Because I feel like...
But you're gonna say it, and then maybe you're gonna be like, I think you need more work on that because that was not as good as it could be.
Yes, okay, yes, you're right. I'm gonna be a little bit nice. I'm not gonna be like a complete bitch.
You got to work on that delivery. I do too, believe me. I work on it on a daily basis.
Yeah, and yeah, that's definitely the thing that like I've been told. But it's like, listen, I'm real. I'm genuine, as I always say. Like this whole like how I am on this podcast. Like I'm not Ellen. Like I'm not like secretly nice to all the guests and I'm mean behind the scenes. No, I'm the exact same person off camera as I am on camera.
What you see is what you get. Yes, I get it. What you see is what you get. And I don't think people, if you look at my picture, I don't think you probably, from what you see in these pictures and what you talking to me now, I could see, I get it all the time. I'm probably not what you thought I would be. I think people think I might be mean or stuck up. I get that a lot. Or I think I'm just so much better than you, kind of thing. I don't know what. I don't know how. Where are you getting that from? But no. I get that from people.
No, you see, at least from what I'm getting, you seem kind of like sweet, which I.
Without
you seem kind of like, yeah. But it's like that's how everyone's like models. Oh my god, a model can be nice. Yeah, just because somebody's attractive doesn't mean that they're an asshole. Like, is it true for some people?
Do I have my problems? Yeah. Do I have my problems I need to work on? Yes, I do. Could I? I think until I've been like, I'm really bossy. But yeah. But on that side note, but I do have to go.
I know you gotta go.
We will continue. But we will continue this. I promise we will.
Yeah. So anyway, it was a pleasure getting to meet you.
Pleasure, likewise.
Thank you. And with that being, yes, next time. With that being said, this is Gay Out the City. I'm your host, Prince Electro Diamond, and I hope you've enjoyed.
Thanks so much. Pleasure.
You're welcome.
Thanks for watching.